at all these fucking people.
So my name is Niara. I always forget to add this in here, but my name is Niara. Thank you for watching my channel, Amber Vert Alert. And if you know me under my artist name, which was Nalaluya, then welcome. Like, comment, subscribe. Okay, we're outside of the Blue Note. We got a little pass. Is anything focusing? There we go. We got ourselves a little pass as we are outside of the Blue Note to see Marcus Miller live. Depending on where I sit, I might not be able to record, but I am excited. I'm gonna turn the camera as I go in because look at how cool this is. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful space. Konnichiwa. So today we're going to be talking about the Blue Note Jazz Festival, which was in Japan last year. Yes, I have taken forever to put anything out on it, but I tell people I'm not a content creator. I just love to record for myself. Either way, I want to start off by saying I am working with a script for this video. Unlike my last video, which was not for entertainment purposes, it was simply to share my experience. This video is for entertainment, so I figure, let me not ramble. So if you see me looking off to the side, it's because I'm trying to make sure I'm staying with the script as loosely as possible. Now making this, because the last video, I got so many comments from people saying that they were afraid of going out, experiencing live music, you know, because of my experience at Astroworld. And I figured, no, it's only fair that I share a positive experience. I totally understand why people felt that way. For me, it took me a long time to be able to go back and listen to live music. I wasn't listening to music for a couple months just because it would trigger me too much. And I started easing my way back in. And I did that with jazz, right? Like, jazz has always been my favorite genre. I started off in high school jazz bands, performed like, you know, Mayor Bloomberg's office as the singer for the band. I didn't play instruments at the time when I first started. Then eventually started playing instruments. And after that, leaving high school, as I mentioned in my previous video, I did start to try to see what, you know, do I have what it takes to become an artist? Do I even like it? And I did not really like it. So I moved from doing that to really just writing music for myself, collabing with other local artists in the area I'm at, or just like doing covers in my backyard. But as someone who's always been around artists and like still current day, majority of my friend group, they are artists just within different mediums of it. I, of course, have stayed connected close enough to be around even professional musicians within the industry. And one of them, the one who gave me the opportunity to go on this tour, his name is Anwar Marshall. Amazing musician, born and raised Philadelphia, Grammy nominated, still humble, and shameless plug, his EP Cold. One of my favorite projects. Like I play that on my own, unprovoked. It's great. So I'm gonna link that in the bio. If you like jazz and hip hop, I'm serious, check it out. It's so good. But we have recently reconnected, and as we were talking about like just music and shows, he asked me, yo, would you wanna go to Japan to see Marcus Miller live? And I gave him the like Cliff Note version I give to most people. Like, I'm not doing the YouTube, you know, deep dive explanation of Astroworld to people. In real life, I'll just say, hey, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but I was at Astroworld, almost died in the crowd, so I don't really do like crowds anymore. And he told me like, well, obviously if you're coming, you're going to be backstage and you will be safe back there. He also mentioned like if I wanted to go into the crowd, because the way music is mixed, it is better to experience that from the crowd. Like, sure, we'll make sure you're sequestered. And I did eventually do that. But after I'm hearing, okay, I'll be backstage, whatever, I was like, you know what, that's fine, let's go. Now, when he mentioned that he was going on tour with a man named Marcus Miller, initially, I did not recognize the name, to be honest. And this is a callback to my previous video where I mentioned to you guys, I really do not do stan culture. I'm not really into celebrity culture. I will say it's like almost out of spite to go against stan culture And I think I've gone too far like opposite, where now it might be borderline disrespectful. So I am becoming better about that. But I didn't know who Marcus Miller was by name. So if you, like me, did not know who he was, let me give you a quick little rundown, okay? Marcus Miller is a legend. He's worked with all the greats from like Shaka Khan, David Sanborn, Aretha Franklin. He's on Never Too Much, the bass line by, you know, Luther Vandross, Never Too Much, and on Tutu by Miles Davis. Like, the man is a legend. So I was very honored. I'm like, okay, this is going to be great. Like, I already love jazz. I love the blue note. Any state I'm in, if I could swing a blue note, I'm going in because I just love the environment. And of course, it's a trip to Japan. So why not? Now, I will say, of course, my experience is going to be a little bit biased. Like I said, the point of me sharing this is to say, like, hey, don't be afraid to go in the crowds. But majority of my experience was backstage. Still, though, I'm going to talk about the crowd and the culture. And I did eventually go into the crowd because of how safe it was there. And we were only there for like 8 days total. About 5 nights the band performed. And they were in Tokyo and Osaka. So I'll take us through Tokyo, then the show in Osaka, and finishing out at Tokyo. Also went to a karaoke bar, went to a metal show. So I'm going to put those things in here. And everything that I did during the daytime and a few of the other nighttime activities that I did, I'll put in part 2 of the Japan video. I just don't want this one to be too long. And like I said, I'm not really a content creator, okay, child? So I don't really have time to be sitting around clipping and editing all day. I got a real life to live. But without further ado, let's meet the band.
My name is marcusmiller.
So nights 1, 2, 3 were, nights 1, 2, 3. Nights 1 through 3 were at the Blue Note in Tokyo. And the moment you like first enter, the ambiance is amazing, okay? The level of class, palpable. From the colors that they use, I love the color scheme of like the browns, the cool grays. They had the photos up, of course, that I showed before. The music that's playing, the jazz music, the dim lighting. It's just beautiful. And it's really, really nice when you enter. It is 3 levels down, the actual club. And at first I was like, ooh, I really don't like this. I don't like this. But the whole point of me going out to Japan for a festival was to push myself past my comfort zone. So obviously it's like, girl, if you get on a plane and get here, you're gonna suck it up and go down these stairs. And that's exactly what I did. Now on the second level, that's where the crowd is waiting. And I noticed already a difference between the Japanese crowd and the American crowds. Now, I travel, right? But the countries I've normally been to are either European or I'm going to like an island like Jamaica. This is my first time in an Asian country. And I know that there are the stereotypes out there that like infantilize Asians. We're not going to be doing that here. We're not. But I am going to be speaking cold hard facts about the difference that is noticeable that unfortunately might seem to feed into stereotypes, but they're positive. I will say that it's a positive one. So first off, the crowd itself is like very calm. And once the doors open, they immediately cue themselves up. Now that's a big difference. I'm not saying here in America, we're trying to stomp through each other, especially not at a jazz venue. But normally, you know, we kind of go in as like a crowd through the doors or whatever. They queued up. They went through one by one. And then when they passed the threshold, they would start to split left and right, 2 people down the stairs. I said, wow. This is different. This is different. But I liked it. That was already a good feeling. The first night I decided to sit within the actual crowd. In the nights 2 and 3, I sat where the guests would sit. And you couldn't record from where I sat in night 1. So I have a few like photos and videos before the show started. but the majority of my videos are from night 2 and 3. Either way, I sit down and like, you know, I'm starting to observe this Blue Note since clearly it's my first time here. And if you notice in that video, the loudest thing in it is the music out the PA system. Everyone that's having conversation is staying right here. It's staying right here between the two of us. The conversation is not wandering past the table. That was very different for me. Normally, whenever I enter any type of venue, especially jazz though, or should I say specifically jazz venues, it's a loud crowd. Like before the band even gets started, people are already hooting and hollering, as we say, hooting and hollering, yelling, clapping already before the music even starts. So I was like, oh, okay, wow, you know, it's a very demure crowd, if you will. And once again, I liked it. They bring out the menu. Let me tell y'all something. Me and hard liquor are not frenzies. Me and wine, we go together real bad. Me and this orange wine, Blue Note. If y'all happen to come across this video, feel free to send me cases of the orange wine they had. I ordered that wine so much that by night 3, they just had the decanter on the table. From the moment I like sat down, they said, that's her, bring the decanter. Like I got it in the photo, bring the decanter out. They gave me a couple of like free glasses since they knew I was with the band. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I dropped a solid 200 easy on the wine alone. I said, wow, this is great. The food itself, food was very good. I am not the biggest foodie, which I know, but, and I definitely will explore. I'll try different things. It's not that. It's just that I didn't grow up eating beef or pork, so it cuts out a lot of options for me, and especially over in Asia where a lot of things are pork heavy. In Japan, let me stop saying Asia, I mean, yes, it's Asia, but in Japan, in particular, it was a lot of pork-based dishes. So, you know, I was sticking to the seafood heavy, and it was great. They took the dish that I got off the menu. Otherwise, I would have shared the name of that. But if you find yourself in Blue Note in Tokyo, the food is great. Get that orange wine. Buy a bottle and just tell me what the cost is. I'll give you the money. I'll give you the money. Anywho, after the food comes out and everything like that, lights dim, the band comes out, everybody, this is like the most noise I've heard from the crowd. You know, everyone's clapping, everyone's cheering them on. And then the moment the band hits the stage and like Marcus touches the bass, silence. It's quiet. Like the type of quiet that I was like, oh, y'all run a tight ship up in here. I'm talking like I could hear the strap just gliding across. I probably shouldn't have done that to my hair, but gliding across, that was crazy. I could literally hear the band going across his hat. They were quiet. I said, damn. Okay, all right. They start playing the music. You know, I'm feeling it. My first glass into that orange wine, I'm feeling it. And whatever they play makes me do like one of those audible woo. Like y'all know what I'm talking about, woo. And after I'm done wooing, I realize it's quiet as hell up in here. Like through the music, it's quiet. At first, I'm thinking, yo, they must not be feeling these songs that are getting played. To the point that I start crowd scanning. Like I'm looking around as one does when you like to people watch. I'm crowd scanning and I'm looking to see what the faces are looking like. And as I'm doing that, I'm coming across like a few people, you know, doing the finger bass, walking it down with them. I'm coming across other people when the keys is going crazy there. And then there's others who are just sitting pretty much still, both hands in lap, both hands on the table, but they are staring at the stage and intensely nodding. And that's when I realized the culture is truly so different. Now, duh, I know, duh, of course, people are different. We know this. Like I said, I travel, we know this. But when you actually experience it, it's really crazy. And it wasn't weird. Here's the thing, it wasn't weird. I didn't feel off. It was just so different. And I was like, wow, I've never been in a crowd where crowd participation is not audible. But it was very clear that culturally, that is just not how they give it up. And I know even the band, like for a little bit, they travel also. I'm talking, they doing Africa, they doing Europe, they doing whatever. They've been in Asian countries. They've been to Japan. But I think it had been a while, right? So there was even a point where like one of the singers got on stage, Larry is amazing. I'm gonna have a few clips with him in it. But Larry gets on stage, the crowd's been pretty stationary, and he says audibly, like, don't be afraid to clap. Don't be afraid to stand up and sing. Like, don't be afraid to make some noise. He's saying that, like, through the song. And everybody pretty much does get up. But if you notice, it's just like, and when I tell you, as soon as the song was done, everybody sat back down, back quiet. Everybody, like as soon. Oh, the song is done? I said, damn, yeah, once again, y'all not playing out here. And I love that for y'all. Moving on though, the next thing that was very just incredible to watch. Seriously, it was amazing. Yeah, like I was in awe, was how they did their encore. So of course in America for us it's encore, encore, encore. But for Japan, what I noticed across the majority of the crowds, their encore was like this. Now, if you're like me, we experience music in everything, right? I can hear the music right now through my voice and the silence of the room. If the AC was on, I can hear music in that. If someone's talking to me and they start laughing, I can hear, right, the crescendo and decrescendo and the laugh. We hear music in a lot of things. If you are like myself, where you hear music through everything. So when I tell you, them breaking out into that clap cohesively and all at once, I really was in awe. I was in awe. Because it's not like, you know, with our encores, it takes a couple seconds for the crowd to get it together and start yelling encore. For this, everybody was doing their claps as people was getting off the stage, and then, I'm not joking, within like less than 2 seconds, it went into that. And I was like, wow, y'all are using nonverbal communication on the whole. This is crazy. I loved it. And it made me like curious about the culture when it comes to music. Like, are they taught this? Like, do you go to a certain amount of shows and you learn this? Do you learn this in school, like after your talent shows or something? Because the way they broke out into that clap in unison, I'm serious when I say it was like spiritual. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And the band comes back on, they perform again. It is a great night. So I'm gonna pause here and I'll let a few of the clips from the show play. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm not going to have a ton of music clips in this video. If you wanna hear more, go to their pages. If you already are a Marcus Miller fan, then you already know what it's given. You already know. But here's gonna be a few clips of that. I do want to say that anyone who you hear yelling in the videos, they were all either American or they were other artists who were out there for the Blue Note tour, finished their set and came to see like Marcus because they were friends of his. But I'm not exaggerating when I say we were the only ones making noise. The only ones. And it didn't throw people off. Like, they did not turn their head and look at us and be like, shut the hell up. Like, they didn't care. But it was just really interesting, very cool to see. The crowd made me feel very safe to the point I didn't mind being 3 levels down. And I'm 2 decanters in the wine, okay? And especially because I didn't have to drive. I mean, I was going home with the band. So it was just really, really cool. He did have a few fans waiting for him, like for autographs, and I caught the tail end of that. They waited outside. So cute. I love it. And I loved it. I thought it was so sweet. I really did. When I get to part 2, though, one thing I'm going to say ahead of time, I'm not going to talk too much about where we stayed, because although like most of the people in Japan seemed very chill, very cool when it came to seeing him, meeting him, whatever, there were a few super fans that like stalked the whole band down looking for him at the hotel. That was weird. Like, I'm talking, it got so weird that one of the super stalker fans ended up calling the hotel room I was in to look for him, to look, Marcus, that is when I say him. So I was like, oh, okay, this is what I mean. I hate stands. Y'all have to relax. You have to pull back. That was just crazy. So I didn't like that part, but that was truly one of the only negative experiences when it came to interacting with the fans of Marcus Miller out there. Other than that, crowd, very welcoming, very peaceful. I loved it. I loved it. So yeah, it was just a really good time. We celebrated like 2 of the band members' birthdays throughout it, so that was also sweet. So yeah, everything was just a beautiful experience. The staff was really friendly, really kind. The only time I actually saw a staff member almost turn up was because one of the guests that was there, he was being so loud, like really loud, like, and I'm not talking like how we're just reacting to the music. He was trying to have a full-blown conversation, almost like over the music. And when I tell you, she cut him a look, the woman who worked there, like a... And I said, oh, y'all got that dog in you? Listen, let me tell you something. They may be calm, they may be quiet. Like I said, though, we are not going to be sitting here infantilizing or, you know, using the stereotypes against Asians as though, or like the Asian community, as though to say like, oh, they just so soft, they so quiet. I can tell by that look. She just got to give you that look. When she give you that look, yeah, he was about to get kicked the hell out. I was hollering. I'm not gonna hold you. I was hollering. But anyway, I'll play one last clip from the Blue Note in Tokyo, where I'm trying to like use that orange wine to focus my camera. I'm not joking, y'all. Me and that orange wine, we was going together. We was going together. We were. And then we'll move on to Osaka. Weird thing is not on my camera, but tonight, Sankai Hall. Now this is very interesting. It's on like the 7th floor of a very tall building. Not really seen anything like that. I like that. It's interesting. Now I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this next venue properly, but I believe it's pronounced Ariake. I keep saying Ariake. This is actually Sankai Hall. Sankai Hall. So if you hear me say Ariake through this, it's Sankai. I'm sorry, I'm trying. It was inside of this building called the Breeze Tower. Huge, like it's a huge multi-use building. It had like a mall inside, like, you know, stores for shopping, a shopping mall. It had music stores. It also had like real estate offices, like business offices. It's huge. And clearly it had its own like music venue inside. And it goes like 2 different floors. They had the 6th floor, they had the 7th floor. So that was really cool to see. Did some exploring backstage, starting with this huge prop elevator.
Japan. It's the first time.
Why so
With
tall?
this big.
Huh?
Why so tall?
This thing is
Because
huge.
this house, we, lots of show, like concert, like the performance or musical, they have a lot of props.
I have never been in an elevator this big.
So take it out of a truck,
Yeah.
put it in the elevator.
Yes, so move this way and this way.
I see.
And I thought it was really cool to see that. Like, once again, as someone who at one point wanted to be within the artist space professionally. It was just very nice to see, okay, what is it like in the backstage? They had the board up with where the crew should be going. They had the band room for them to get ready, Marcus's own room. Of course, they have the room with the food in it. That's from the writer. I took no photos of the food, which is crazy. I don't remember why. I know I showed up a little later, so I think most of the food was packed away. But I did, of course, take photos of the liquor that they had lined up and the wine. Now, here's where I'm going to pause and say, I swear to y'all, I am not an alcoholic. And I'm not even joking when I say that. I'm not. But I like myself some wine. Next time I go on vacation, I will have to take more photos of food. Because it's not looking good for me right now. But anyway, traveled between the two floors. So the bottom floor had a smoking room. And unfortunately, it is a nasty habit that I am trying to break away from. Please do not start smoking. I started because of some traumatic things I went through. One of them I explained to you. I had quit, had picked it back up after Astroworld, and I can't lean on that as a crutch because it's been like 4 years, girl. We got to give it up, right? So stay away from smoking. But they did have a smoking room, and you could watch the show from the little TV in there if you wanted to. I started it down there, and then I went upstairs, explored a little bit more of the side stage, saw the monitors where they had the mixing for the mics and monitors. I believe for the crowd, they could also see into that, but I don't want to drag it. That could be wrong. And that, once again, just another great experience. And this crowd was a little different, right? So Osaka was a little different from Tokyo. When I show in part one, the way it looked even, like the vibe was different. So they were a little more animated, a little more audible, but it was still overall pretty quiet. And with this crowd, once they were asked to stand, they didn't sit back down for the rest of the time. But for a minute, I was like, I feel like they feel like they're being held prisoner. Not gonna hold you. Like, not that the band was trying to make them feel that way, but it goes back to respect. Like, I can just tell that the crowd respects the band. So they're like, hey, I know that you want us to interact in this way. We want you to know that we are so grateful to even be listening to this. Yeah, we're gonna stand. You asked us to stand, we're gonna stand. And we ain't gonna sit back down. Only people that was sitting were maybe like a little elderly. Everybody else was on their feet. They was on their feet. So I'm gonna play a few clips from this venue, and let's hear some of that. Another great grand night. Another night, yes, although I'm backstage, I'm watching the crowd, and they're a beautiful, beautiful, respectful crowd. And I want to say, by this day, it's like day number 5 or 6 of us actually being out there, because they didn't play every single night back to back. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, you see this photo of me? I was tired. I was exhausted. Shout out to musicians who travel and while they perform like this and do these tours or whatever. I'm gonna tell you, being on tour just as a guest, I was like, there was no way I was doing this professionally. Whoa, I'm sleepy now and I'm not even on stage. So shout out to the artists who are touring like this. Wowzers. But anywho, I'll play like just the outro for Karaoke in Osaka, and then we're gonna go back to Japan for the final night of the Blue Note Festival. So now we for real come to Karaoke. Huge venue. Okay, can hold 15,000 people inside the venue. I don't know how many people actually were at the jazz festival because like the numbers are not online, but I'm gonna put it more to like maybe like 7,000 people were in there. Like it was pretty packed. It was pretty big. Of course we entered in through the van, so you know, went through backstage area. Once again, is huge. Here I took less videos because there were a lot of big acts there. Like, you know, and I do want to say too, even though it's a Blue Note Jazz Festival, there's other artists out there that are not jazz musicians. So like Nas was out there for it. I know they said previous year Snoop Dogg was out there for it, even though, you know, we side-eyeing Snoop. But he was out there for it. This year coming is Neo, also side-eyeing Neo. I'm just shouting at the people that was there. Nora Jones has been part of it. So it's all different types of artists. But for the final day, the day that I went, you know, they had like Chicago. They had Nile Rodgers, Snarky Puppy, which I was so sad I missed. I was so sad I missed Snarky Puppy. I love Snarky Puppy. And then the headliner who closed out was Marcus Miller. So like I said, didn't take too many photos, didn't take too many videos, but everyone I met was so friendly, no matter how big the act was. Like they were so kind. And sure, it could be because they know I'm a guest of Marcus Miller, so they're like, I'm gonna treat you a certain way. But I genuinely, just from how I felt talking to them, they just seemed genuinely like nice people. The food here was okay. Now I am gonna say that. Okay, y'all could do better with the food y'all got. Food was okay. The fruit, if anything, I was tearing the fruit up. I was tearing that fruit up. What? Wow. And of course the wine, you know, we had the wine in hand. But either way, by the time we get settled, the last two performances are Nile Rodgers and to Marcus Miller. Now, Nile Rodgers, if you think you do not know who that is, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you and say, yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right. He's a co-founder of the group Chic. He has also worked with tons of greats, and the songs that you'll probably be familiar with listening to are like I'm Coming Out, Good Times. You probably know that one, you know, Get Lucky by Pharrell, and my favorite, Lose Yourself to Dance. Lose Yourself to Dance. That is my song. That's my song. Okay. He played the hell out of the guitar on that song. Either way though, Nile Rodgers, another legend. And I was so excited when I got there because I knew the name was familiar, but I couldn't place it. Now this time I was like, okay, I do know who that is, but I can't place it for some reason. The moment that music started, I said, no way, no way. I got my life, y'all. I got my life. Now we stood on the side of the stage, and the side of the stage was huge. I'm talking big enough. It could be its own stage at like the BET Awards, like the ones they be having outside for the up and coming artists to get on, like you know, those outside stages. It's that big. I was like, damn, it could hold the whole crew here. So we're standing off to the side, and I'll let a few clips from his show play, but not too many, once again, just out of respect. But here's a few of the clips from Nile Rodgers.
Anwar. Oh, that's beautiful.
Look at that fucking outfit.
It's amazing. Like,
Christ.
come on.
Like he was really getting down. I'm telling you, I love musicians who are so passionate, so serious about their craft, and just have fun, know how to direct a crowd, know how to engage with the crowd. But more than anything, you can feel the love they have for their music, for their instrument, like seeping out. When I tell y'all I got my life, I was on the side screaming, singing. I almost probably sounded like a damn groupie the way I was hollering, but I really love music, and I was so filled with excitement and amazement because I'm like, What the hell am I doing in Japan watching a legend like Nile Rodgers on the side of the stage? Like, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. Now, before I dive further in, I once again want to pause and talk about the crowd. So I recorded that video when I eventually decided to go out and stand like kind of within the crowd. It was still off to the side, like it was still behind its own little barrier, somewhere so to crush it off, but it was still pretty close to the crowd, right? I decided to go out there, and as I'm recording, I scan across, and what did I tell y'all? Silently sat, but they're still enjoying it. If you pause and you really look at people's faces, like some of them might look a little out of it, like they might have looked it, but I'm telling you, I could tell they were getting their life. They were having so much fun. And it makes me realize that the culture, I'm assuming at least, when it comes to public spaces, is that you need to be respectful of everyone else. And I have to do more research myself on where that came from, but that's just what I can infer from all the groups, all the environments I was in. I was really, the only loud environment I was ever in was because like myself and the band were like having a good time with one another, right? Like while outside. And like the one bar we went to, they were kind of chatty in there, but no, I'm telling you, most places that I went to personally, I'm not saying everywhere, but that I went to, that especially with these live music venues, it was quiet. So like I said, I just get the vibe that culturally, they don't play that mess. You're not about to come out here and make your experience my experience. Ho, shut up. That's the vibe I'm getting from Japan. Ho, shut up. And enjoy it internally. And I'm not playing. And then there's one last video I have of the crowd. And this was the one that actually, it almost spooked me, but not like, I don't think that's the right word, because I wasn't freaked out, but it was like, it was just so different that it culture shock again. I guess that's just the term I gotta use again. It's culture shock from this video.
Sax good?
This is the changeover from the drum riser.
Trumpet. That's good.
Larry Bragg's over there. Yeah.
Now, why did it shock me? It is because we're in the middle of changing sets. This is where, once again, if I was in America, or even when I've been in live music spaces in Europe, like whatever, this is where people are gonna start chatting. You know, somebody's opened up their phone, unfortunately, and they playing a TikTok video or Instagram video, or someone's gonna make a phone call, or, you know, someone's gonna just start breaking out to their own song and dance. Listen, I've been at venues and people brought their own instruments. Now, y'all should not be doing that. That's absolutely crazy. I don't know why you're breaking out a tambourine. Sit down, okay? Sit down. But, you know, it's once again, it's gonna be just really loud, really loud, really lively. Y'all hear it in the video. They're quiet. They're just sitting and just waiting. Truly, like I could tell, they're like, we're just gonna wait here for the next act to come out. And that one, yeah, that was the one where audibly, I know on one of my videos, I couldn't find it, but I remember saying it on video, like, yo, there are thousands of people in this room, and I genuinely think me and 10 of my friends would be louder than them. Like, oh my gosh. Like me in my apartment right now is louder than the thousands of people in a stadium. Just culture shock. It was just so different. But it was amazing to see. And it's one of those things that I love about traveling. I really enjoy being able to experience the things I might do normally day to day in another part of the world. Sometimes, because America's so damn big, shoot, I could even go to another sector of America and it'd be a little different, right? But you know, we still have our similarities within America. It's, you know, it's still America. But this was just so different and eye-opening, and it's something that just gave me thought around what it must be like to be an artist in every single environment you go to. It will be different, but like truly different. Truly different. I don't know, man. I don't know. I could talk about that for hours, but I'll keep going in circles and harping on the same thing because I'm telling you, it's nothing like standing in a room with thousands of people and you can still hear a pin drop. That's crazy. The dude who's doing he's doing the sound check to make sure the mics are good. He was definitely like the loudest person in the entire place, obviously with the mic. But as soon as that mic went down, all you could really hear was just like the shuffle of feet, right? People cutting across. That's kind of it. So I was like, wow. But anyway, the final night, same, still got my life. So, this stage was a lot larger. And so it was like nice to just be able to move around a bit more and record and things like that. But I think I was just truly enamored by the experience. Like by the final day, I was really just soaking it all in. And I also was so grateful because like I said, the whole reason I came out there was to push past my fear. And of course, it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it. The crowd is going to be completely different off of genre alone. That's a fact, right? The crowd's gonna be different off of culture alone. I knew that was a fact. But I just didn't understand how healing it would be to go into a crowd listening to my favorite genre of music from some of the greatest musicians in the world, watching the crowd respectfully, lovingly interact with them and not feel afraid for my life for one moment. Like not for one, I know I put up 2 fingers, big number 3, my lord, but for one moment I didn't have fear. Like I didn't have fear for one moment while I was there, and I needed that. And I'm still gonna continue. Like the last few minutes of this will be around the karaoke bar and like the metal show. But once again, the whole reason I'm even posting this all these months later is because I don't want anyone being afraid to go out and experience live music. Experiencing live music is how we connect with other humans, right? For a lot of us, we don't speak the same language, but you can put on a song and we both know that song and we both love it. And now we're laughing, we're having fun. And eventually, who knows what comes of that? There are people who have started friendships and they barely speak the same languages because they love the same artist. So please do not stifle your experience just because there are greedy, careless people out there, dumb, unruly fans out there. You just do the research on the crowd. You just do the research on the venue. You look up their past shows and you see how the crowds are. And especially for a genre like jazz, like I don't think you're ever going to have to go into anything jazz related and think you're not leaving with your life. But just in case you ever go to a huge jazz festival, like where it is outdoors and there are tons of people roaming, I really do not think it's going to be the same experience as what I shared I went through at Astroworld. I just don't see that being the case. I pray that's not the case. That would just be truly insane to me. So anyway, let's close out the final night in Tokyo at Ariake, and then we're gonna finish off with, like I said, the excuse me, with the karaoke bar and with the metal show. So for the karaoke bar, that one is in Roppongi. I put like the Instagram up there so that if you want to follow it, if once again you're ever going to Japan, you want to save it. It's great. The owner is the guy who's going to be on the piano and some of the clips I play. But that was so much fun. That was night 1 after the first jazz show. We just wandered into this place. I know like one of the band members was friends with someone who frequents this place often, but we actually didn't plan to go there at first. So we get there like super late. I think it was like almost damn near 1 in the morning, maybe midnight, like maybe, because we went to a bar before that, which I'll put that in part 2 because I'm trying to find the name of it. I cannot find the name of that bar, and it was cool. But This karaoke bar setup was it was just different for me. Like, they had the drum kit on top of the bar. And so, like, no matter how tall, how short you were, whatever, if you want to play those drums, you were getting on that bar. The other cool thing was that, yes, you were allowed to get up. If you knew how to play instruments, you could just go up and you could either take over the keys. If you had your own instrument, like some of the band did, they're playing their own saxophones, they're playing their own trumpets, whatever. Or you're getting up there and you're playing that drum. Now, I do want to say, because the band loves jazz, I mean, literally they are in jazz professionally. When they got up there, they played jazz music. It was incredible. Crowd loved it. But they don't only do that at this place. Like, they do let regular music just play out the speakers while people are dancing. And then when they switch over to the live music, they do a lot of covers, which was cool. So yeah, that was like a really just different environment for me again. I've never been to a karaoke bar where you can hop on and play instruments yourself. I just thought that was freaking amazing. And I will close out with the metal show. So the whole reason we even ended up there was because the band manager, professionally, he plays drums as well, and he is within the metal world. So he's friends with someone that was part of the Comeback Kids, which is like the metal band that was headlining, if I'm not mistaken, like the final night, which is the night we went to. And the place was called Club Sita. Club Sita? You're that girl. You're that girl. I really enjoyed just walking around and even looking at all the posters. They had like this disco ball, like, you know, twirling around in there. It was cool. It was so much fun. Now, before we went to this metal show, my friend, of course, asked the manager, like, hey, what's the crowd going to be like? Like, we can't really have her in the crowd, so can we do backstage? Can we do VIP, whatever? And he reached out, and they were like, yo, we'll make sure you can get into either one. So when we first get there, we go through backstage. You know, where I'm talking to the different bands that are back there. Everybody's cool. This is what I really do enjoy about metal, like metal heads. Listen, I understand the rep that they have is that they're these just, you know, really dangerous whatever people. Most metalheads I meet, bro, yo, they're mad chill. They're mad chill. Now, we start talking politics, I don't know how that goes, right? And I'm saying that because I literally don't know how that goes. And that really is important to me to determine how chill you are. So I don't know what the pulse is on that part of it. But as just individuals, we just walking and meeting and talking. Pretty sweet people. Pretty chill people. Very kind people. Everyone that was back there. Of course, dropped by the dressing room for the Comeback Kids and spoke to them for a bit. And then we started off at the side of the stage. Now, eventually we moved because that place was starting to fill up a bit and I didn't really love it. And it was mainly just people who were in bands themselves, but still, I was like, yeah, it is so a little bit too soon for me to be doing like a bunch of people huddled up on the side of the stage. Not doing that. So we decided to move upstairs to the VIP section. And that was really cute. You know, they gave us the bracelets to make sure we could get up there. And there was barely anyone up there. Like, it stretched across the entire venue. And I want to say outside of the three of us, there were probably literally like only 3 other people. So now I'm calm, I'm comfortable, and I'm cracking up because the music in between the final set, I was not expecting. Don't keep away. I don't know what to say, I'll say it anyway. Like, I don't think anyone goes to a metal show and thinks they're gonna hear Take On Me. But, you know, I'm here for it. I said, listen, whatever. And then, of course, the band comes out, and they were great. Like, yo, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. But let's talk about this crowd, right? This crowd was the most mild-mannered, like, moshers I've seen in my life. I'm not saying they wasn't going in and getting a life, but it was still very just tame compared to what I've heard and seen from American metal shows, right? like, as you see, they're still jumping around, they're still thrashing and all that, but no one's making contact. That's one thing I noticed. No one was down there punching each other, kicking each other, hitting each other. None of them. And if they did, I could tell it was like kind of by mistake, and they would start to move a bit more. Then they were having so much fun. Like, there was girls there, you know, or women there, excuse me, because grown women, I think some might have been like maybe like 19 or something. So, you know, teenagers too, because I still call, you know, y'all still teenagers. But they had the women hopping on stage, and then they cartwheeling off into the crowd, being surfed, and then they put them down. The next person is running up, doing a little cartwheel, which I think was in one of my previous videos as well. And then they backflipping off the stage, and then they gonna start they thrashing, and everyone's just having a good time. And it was once again enjoyable to watch. Like, I was not nervous. I did not think, oh my gosh, like, oh, that person's gonna have blood coming down their shirt, get them out of here. Like, no. There was one person that passed out because this had been going all day. So by the time we got there, like, we came for like the last 2 hours. Because the night before, like, that's when we were in Osaka. We traveled the morning of. So like, we were tired, we needed to sleep. So by the time we got there, it was like only 2 more groups left. Or bands left. But yeah, one person did end up fainting, and when I tell you, a group of people got around them, picked him up, put him over to the side and gave him some water, sat him down, and then that whole group moved besides one person who stayed with them. Like, it was once again that loving, encouraging environment where people are just having fun and letting go. And it might not be in a way that I'm gonna do it, but I didn't come here to judge how this crowd is letting go. I just came to observe it and see, like, what is it like out here. And I hate to use generalizations too, so I want to put this little disclaimer. For this entire video, this was just my experience. You might have been out in Japan and you saw somebody get roundhouse kicked on the street. You might have. I doubt it, but you might have, right? So I hate using generalizations, but I am speaking to my experience. In America, we know, we have the rep, we're loud. We are loud everywhere we go. It don't matter, it could be a funeral. We're gonna be loud up in that funeral. It is what it is. Every single crowd we were in, quiet, calm. I said, wow, this is amazing. This is so amazing. And we all, like, the 3 of us, we were amused. So I went with, like, we were amused because it would become funny to a point, just to see people thrashing all around in like these interesting like formations, because they started making formations. Like, it was becoming amusing, but it was still very fun. It was a very fun crowd. So yeah, if you're someone who watched my last video and you said, damn, I never want to be in a crowd again, everything I mentioned earlier, please apply that. Please apply that. Do not stop going out. Do not stop, do not stop going out, and don't stop yourself from experiencing something new out of fear. Just do your research. Try to push a little past your comfort zone. But like I mentioned in my last video, never, in the first video, should I say, from Astroworld, you should never be pushing to a point where it compromises your soul. It should never feel so dark that you're compromising your soul. No, like, none of that should be going on. None of that. Music is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to bring people together. I'll do another video eventually where I start doing my music reviews again, and some of them will be around my favorite artists. Like, one of them, for those who are jazz lovers, you know, listen, Bad Bad Not Good. Bad Bad Not Good is one of my favorite bands. Love them. And they got started pretty early on, around like the same time as like when Tyler was going solo. I mean, actually pretty much probably a little after that. But when Tyler was going solo and really coming up, when Frank Ocean was doing his thing, going solo, when A$AP Mob had first came out as a big group, Bad Bad Not Good, they used to collab with a lot of hip hop and R&B artists. So that's how I really got onto them. But I've seen how some of their shows are. Beautiful crowds, beautiful shows. And we will be doing an album review of either Talk Memory or Spiral. Like, we would definitely have to do one. So if you're a jazz lover, if you've never heard of Bad Bad Not Good, or if you have and you love them, join me for that, because that'll be the next video before I put out my part 2 for this video. Because it's just, I have a lot of videos and photos to go through from what we were doing during the day. It's so much, and y'all, I work a full-time job, and outside of that, I just like to sleep or be with friends or family or whatever. So it's gonna take me a little time to get that video together. But yes, as I was saying, don't let it stop you. Go out, enjoy music. Don't be afraid to be around people. We need people. We need people. And that's what I'm saying. Music is supposed to bring you together. And it should be bringing us together. It should not be making us fearful to be around one another. And with that, let's close out this show.
Thank you, Bluenote Jazz. It's been an honor and a pleasure to play for y'all. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu. One more time for Russell Gunn.
Arigato!
Xavier Gordon.
Yeah!
One more time for Anwar Marshall. One more time for Larry Braggs on the beautiful vocals. And yours truly,